Wow, so the brand new Last of Us Part 2 trailer slash cutscene might be a lot more giving than we might have originally expected. This new trailer gives us a lot more hints at a possible connection to Joel and Ellie's journey in The Last of Us Part 2. So in today's video, I plan to unpack this all and tell you guys what I have come up with after viewing this trailer multiple times, seeing the interview that Neil did, and coming up with my own conclusions. So this is my in-depth analysis of what I've seen so far. So I guess I'll start with pretty much what Neil said in the blog post on PlayStation Blog. He said these are different characters besides Joel and Ellie. Joel and Ellie are still the core, they're still the heart of The Last of Us at the end of the day. It still is their story, but rather than just giving us adjacent puzzle piece, giving us another puzzle revolving around Joel and Ellie this time around, we're going to be seeing different characters this time around, and we got these brand new characters that we have to unpack, a brand new location, mind you, as well. And yeah, so what can I tell you? Well, so far, based on the concept art we got back at PSX, this pretty much aligns exactly with what we got last year. The girl with the hammer and the burning car immediately gives us, flashbacks to what the concept art we got back in last December. This was the biggest thing while watching the trailer that made me think that this is possibly The Last of Us Part 2 while watching the trailer. Of course, that was the whole thing, is this Days Gone? Is this The Last of Us Part 2? But clearly by the resemblance to the concept art, that concept art is clearly, resembling this whole scene that unfolded here. Pretty cool to see how things tie in near the end. I did bring up location, and yeah, that is true. The whole entire rumored Seattle location has been pretty much confirmed based on the concept art. In the trailer, you can see kind of like a little underpass, little street sign, or I guess a highway sign, or yeah, pretty much just a street sign that pretty much aligns with the real life location you can find pretty much using Google Maps. It's pretty much one-to-one. They completely made the real life setting into an apocalyptic setting for The Last of Us Part 2, and it's pretty cool to see if you see the comparisons. Moving past the western location, we got some brand new characters, in fact, probably about 4. Of course, we have the unknown lead protagonist portrayed by Laura Bailey. You can definitely tell in the beginning, moments of the whole introduction of this scene. You can hear the grunts. It pretty much sounds exactly like Nadine Ross, or I guess, Laura Bailey. That's something I definitely did pick up in my first time hearing it. It definitely sounds like Laura Bailey, so that's pretty cool to see how Laura Bailey will be brought back. Of course, Naughty Dog likes to do this at the end of the day. They like to bring back old people, Troy Baker and all these things in The Last of Us. Nolan North was in the original Last of Us as David. It's pretty cool to see how these, other Uncharted-like characters come brought forward. So yeah, Laura Bailey is finally past Nadine Ross and is playing a new character in The Last of Us, which is pretty exciting. The second most interesting character would probably be Emily, I guess portrayed by Emily Shallow. Her fate is pretty much pretty quick. She gets knocked out, or I guess killed, to say it lightly, by the end of the cutscene, and pretty much what we know about her is she's kind of anti-Firefly based on the little things she has said. Of course, I'm going to go into this later when I talk about the actual story, but so far, all we know is she's like a leader of this group of some kind. Probably not the high-end, leader, because, of course, they want to kill off the main big bad in the, the little cutscene that they reveal here, but she's definitely one of the, main lieutenants probably of this little group here, and she probably calls the shots. Next up is Yara. This is the woman who had her arm broken, I guess, really, her arm was completely shattered by the end of this cutscene. I did look up her name to do a little bit of research, and her name does mean small butterfly. Her with the Fireflies, a lot of connections there. I don't think that's not intentional. That's definitely intentional. Yara, the name being small butterfly. Very, very cool little hint or Easter egg there that Naughty Dog put in there. Pretty neat. That's definitely intentional. Besides Yara, the last character we got introduced was Lev. He's the young boy with the archery bow skills that, completely made his shots. And yeah, he pretty much is, I guess, maybe the young boy to Yara. It might be her son, might be just someone she looks after a loved one died. We don't really know at the moment, but obviously, they're together. We presume they're the Fireflies based on earlier, the whole clip her wings message was very, telling. So yes, Lev, we don't know much about him. He's probably like the most mysterious one besides Emily. And yeah, I can't wait to know more about him as we get more clues possibly in the future and as the game comes along. Definitely already pretty interesting character. So let's talk about the actual scene. So I guess, we'll just go straight to the most revealing dialogue in the whole thing. Clip her wings, spoken by Emily, as Yara pretty much gets her left arm completely shattered by a hammer. So clip her wings might have multiple meanings. Of course, as I said, her name, Yara, means after, pretty much small butterfly. Maybe, clip her wings means that. But most likely and probably this is pretty much what exactly it means. She is presumably a firefly. Of course, fireflies having wings, it makes a complete perfect analogy, and it just completely makes sense. So, this new big bad is definitely anti-Firefly, and we know which side they're on. They're not going to be a Firefly. Of course, the Fireflies were the main, I guess you could see, villain at the end of the day of The Last of Us. Some may argue there's not really a villain in The Last of Us. Of course, the hunters like David are also a villain, but, at the end of the day, the Fireflies were kind of like another antagonist in The Last of Us. So in the second one, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the main big bad. The main big bad will be the ones that we saw in this trailer. At least that's what my theory is at this moment. So, the main big bad, let's go into them. This is presumably a new group. We haven't seen them in the original Last of Us. Of course, we got introduced to one of their main leads that got killed off really early on, Emily. A lot of biblical references in this one trailer cutscene. Emily mentions sin a lot of times as she's about to gut the unknown character. And she pretty much says something along the line of like a ritual when she's about to gut her, saying, "Breathe in, that they may know my," before she gets cut off by Yara, of course, coming in. But yeah, a lot of biblical references that's pretty interesting. Emily also later interrogates Yara, asking her where the other apostate is, meaning like a religious traitor, so that's also pretty interesting. There's definitely a religious influence in The Last of Us Part 2, especially with the new big bad here, so that's going to be pretty interesting to see how Naughty Dog tackles this. And yeah, they might be anti-Firefly, maybe anti-Christ, maybe pro-Christ, we don't know. Again, how they're hanging people and how they're smashing their arms could also be seen as like a little, tad to Jesus being, I guess, crucified, possibly. I've seen that, theory thrown around there. Possibly they're anti-Christ, we don't know. Other than that, the scene unfolds as we saw in the, trailer, and also near the end, the boy also speaks something along the lines of the fact that the unknown character is not a Firefly when declining to help her down from being hanged, and even says that she is one of them, one of the people at that Emily's group, and one of the Antichrist people. So this presumes that the new, lead girl that has the 4-letter characters portrayed by, Laura Bailey, of course, is going to be someone that's like a traitor, someone that leaves the main bad, the people that are biblically influenced, so to say. We don't know their name yet. Of course, we only have part of the puzzle so far. So she's a traitor, maybe she leaves. Of course, some people are throwing around the possibilities of this being Ellie's mom, Anna, because of course there is a 4-letter thing, so it possibly is there. As you know, my stake on this, I guess I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. I guess I'll just finish off what the trailer showed off. Of course, after that, they ended off with, them defending off the infected altogether with a short glimpse of the clickers and runners coming at them, which was a pretty good cliffhanger. So yeah. Before I get into my own personal thoughts based on this whole thing and how it fits in the timeline, I will say the tone that Neil mentioned also said, of course, Last of Us Part 2 will be focused more on hate as the original was to love. Neil enforces, as he said, pretty much through this whole entire dark trailer. It's very dark, it's very non-pleasant, so to say lightly. It is definitely more hate, affected in this thing. It's a lot more emotion on hate, not in love. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how Last of Us Part 2 is, more revolving around the hate. Even the colors, fire red of the whole car burning on fire. A lot more, red, a lot more orange, kind of warm flavored colors that are, more associated with hate at the end of the day. Of course, it is also pitch black, so I guess you can put that, the whole reference of black and death, possibly. Very dark themes, of course, with people being hanged by trees. I mean, come on. So yeah, I guess I'll just go into my personal thoughts now. So where does this fit in the timeline? So honestly, people are saying this is like right after the outbreak. Personally, I believe this is present day. Just based on the environments, based on the trees, they kind of look similar to The Last of Us Part 2's original trailer, looking very overgrown, claw marks on the trees. I didn't explicitly see claw marks on the trees in this one, but it definitely does look a lot more overgrown than what we saw in the original Last of Us. That's just my own personal prediction, or just, analysis. Of course, I could be wrong. But the next big thing is obviously the clickers. Clickers are not a thing in the regular Outbreak. They happen over time, they develop over time. Obviously, in the original Outbreak of The Last of Us, there's no clickers. Again, they start with runners. I think clickers are believed to be developed around 5 to 6 years after being bitten. I could be wrong, but definitely a couple years after they are bitten. So obviously, this is a couple years in the future. This is definitely a couple years after the initial Outbreak. Personally, I do believe this is present day. I'm not really buying into this whole Ellie's mom, Anna thing yet, just because of, one, she's muscular. She's not really that pregnant woman that we saw in the Easter egg in Uncharted 4 of being the American, daughter. I definitely don't see that. Some pros, I guess people are saying, it resembles Ellie in the face. I guess I could see that. There also is a tie into the Fireflies, which Ellie's mom was also a tie into the Fireflies, so it's possible that maybe she had like a little, problem, conflict with them. Something that was hidden from us. Maybe the truth was hidden from us in the original Last of Us. Another thing we saw, I guess you could say didn't see, was the sign of no pregnancy with Ellie yet. So, of course, people are saying this is with her mom. We didn't see any, pro-pregnancy. Anna was presumed to die immediately after she gave birth to Ellie. I believe like a day or so after. Obviously we see no signs of pregnancy, so at least this is like 9 months before her birth or so. I guess some people are saying, when she was getting lined up about to be killed, the knife was like right to her belly, possibly, threatening to kill the baby. But if you do look against the other people that are being hanged, you can see another guy that got gutted too. I definitely believe this is more ritual-sided than just another, we're gonna kill your baby, stab you in the gut. I definitely don't think that is it. Another reason why I don't believe this is Ellie's mom, Anna, is just it's kind of like an easy fake out. A lot of people are kind of expecting it. It just doesn't seem like it would be something that they just initially revealed this quickly. I definitely think chances are high this is a lot more of a new character, and I honestly want it to be a new character because honestly the way this character is portrayed, it makes her feel a lot more of an individual, tough character. It doesn't really scream Anna from what I heard about The Last of Us, From what we know about Anna so far, we know that she's a woman that gave birth to Ellie, of course, with the Fireflies, presumably. This girl is not with the Fireflies. And as we know of so far, this doesn't really match up with the personality that we know of Anna so far, or at least the image that we have of her. At least that's to me, my personal thoughts. I don't really think of Anna when I see this new character. And honestly, when, playing for the game, I'd rather her be a new character. Because so far, the way she's portrayed, she feels a lot more stronger as a new character than she would to be just, shoved into the role of Anna when she doesn't really need to be. So I definitely think this is a new character. Of course, we have the possibility of Shannon Woodward's character being portrayed as Anna, or possibly, Ellie's mom in the future. It is entirely possible that there is going to be no, Ellie's mom in this game. It's going to be completely different than what we are predicting as of so far. Of course, Druckmann in his interview kind of said something about, when the scene will take place, presumably thinking this might be a time jump. I definitely do think this will be kind of maybe a little play on time, possibly, but I definitely don't think this is at least the Outbreak, of course, with the clickers, but it is possibly, maybe it is 6 years in the future, right before Ellie's born. Maybe it is Anna's mom. We don't know. I guess we'll go into the last question, which is, when will we hear from this game again? So Neil Druckmann, at the end of his blog post talking about The Last of Us Part 2, saying, it's been a long time since we last heard about this game, back at PSX last year. He did say, and we promise, you won't have to wait as long for the next big reveal. That, to me, immediately screams we're going to see gameplay at PSX. I've always thought that PSX would be the perfect avenue where we're finally going to see gameplay. Of course, if this game's presumed to come out in early 2019 or late 2018, I definitely think gameplay is not too far-fetched, and I wouldn't get it past Naughty Dog to show gameplay. Of course, they like to show things off early. If anything, I definitely think we'll see another reveal. I also don't see how Naughty Dog would have passed PSX for Paris Games Week. Even Neil last year said that he loved PSX as a venue, probably the most out of everything, even including E3. So yeah, I guess that concludes my whole analysis of The Last of Us Part 2. Appreciate it if you guys enjoyed it. I do want to know your thoughts though, because this is definitely something that would be a lot easier to put the puzzles back together, if we did it as a community together. So definitely write your comments down below. I definitely want to hear from you. That's definitely another big part about this video. Piece it together, figure out what we can find out. Hopefully we'll get another part of the puzzle next month at PSX, next in December, which will be very exciting. Hopefully we can get some gameplay. That will definitely give us a lot more puzzles in terms of, seeing Ellie and seeing how this fits in. Definitely watching back, the last trailer we got at PSX will hopefully give us some more clues as well. That'll be very interesting to see if, there's any, ties into what Ellie's doing compared to the new characters that we got introduced here. So yeah, I guess as a community, that'd be awesome to see if you guys could also comment down below what you guys imagine to pick up from this trailer. So yeah, I guess from there, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. Definitely going to be covering Last of Us Part 2. I'm completely intrigued by this game. Just based on this trailer alone, I'm very much more into in-depth and picking things apart than I was for Uncharted 4. I'm very intrigued to doing this more in the possible future for Last of Us Part 2. So yeah, make sure to definitely subscribe if you're not yet subscribed already. Make sure to like the video. Definitely did some research on this video, and hopefully we can, yeah, just do all that good stuff. I appreciate it. If you guys stick all the way to the end of this video, appreciate it as always. My name is Online. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.